Hey everybody, this is Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from the Daily Signal, it's dated October 3rd, and it was a more philosophical thing than I normally read, but it was Dennis Prager. But I thought it would be worth going over this because it seems like a pretty interesting topic. So it says, people hate those who fight evil far more than those who are evil. So we'll go into this. And if you don't know who Dennis Prager is, you definitely should know who he is. But let's go ahead and get into it. It says, I realized something very important about the human condition when I was in high school. I realized that people tend to hate those who fight evil far more than they hate those engaged in doing evil. What made me come to this conclusion was the way in which many people reacted to communism and to anti-communism. And it's always good to be an anti-communist. It says, to my amazement, a great many people, specifically all leftists and many, though not all liberals, hated anti-communists far more than they hated communism. Because of my early preoccupation with good and evil, already in high school, I hated communism. Good man, and I know that about him. Says, how could one not? I wondered. True. So along with Nazism, and I'm saying that specifically to avoid the YouTube censorship, says it was the great evil of the 20th century. Needless to say, as a Jew and as a human, I hated Nazism, but I was born after Nazism was vanquished. The great evil of my time was communism. But as I was born, he says after that. So yes, that was the same with me as well. Obviously, I was not born until 78, so yeah, great evil of my time was also communism. Grew up in the 80s. This communist murdered about 100 million people, all non-combatants and all innocent. Stalin murdered about 30 million people, including 5 million Ukrainians by starvation in just 2 years. It was 1932 and 33. Chairman Mao killed about 60 million people. Pol Pot and his Khmer Rouge, or the Red Cambodians, killed about 3 million people. That's 1 in every 4 Cambodians between 1975 and 1979. And the North Korean communist regime killed between 2 million and 3 million people, not including another million killed in the Korean War started by the North Korean communists. For every one of the 100 million killed by communists, add at least a dozen more people, family and friends, who are terribly and permanently affected by the death of their family member or friend. Then add another billion whose lives were ruined by having to live in a communist totalitarian state, their poverty, their loss of fundamental human rights, and their loss of dignity. You would think that anyone with a functioning conscience and with any degree of compassion would hate communism. That's correct, and I think that's still true. But that was not the case. Indeed, there were many people throughout the non-communist world who supported communism. And there was an even larger number of people who hated anti-communists, dismissing them as cold warriors, warmongers, red baiters, etc. At the present time, we are again witnessing this phenomenon, hatred of those who oppose evil rather than those who do evil, with regard to Israel and its enemies, and on a far greater level. Israel is hated by individuals and governments throughout the world. Israel is the most reviled country at the United Nations, as well as in Western media and, of course, in universities. And look who funds those universities, and you'll understand that pretty quickly. And yeah, go look at how many, the resolutions that the UN has put forth, and I think it's something like 75% of them are against Israel. So yeah. It says Israel is a liberal democracy with an independent judiciary, independent opposition press, and equal rights for women, gays, and its Arab population, which is 20% of the Israeli population. It says its enemies, the Iranian regime, Hamas and Hezbollah, which thankfully are very close to being no more, allow no such freedoms to those under their control. More relevantly, their primary goal, indeed their stated reason for being, is to wipe out Israel and its Jewish inhabitants. As Hamas and Hezbollah have built nothing, absolutely nothing, in Gaza and Lebanon, respectively. They exist solely to commit genocide against Israel and its Jews. And that was another reason I wanted to go over this article, was because of it bringing up the Israel thing, and just to mention to people who are lefties who might come across this and say, yeah, there's a difference between these two places, and it's the thing that you're cheering for is the thing that would repress you. Okay? Not the one you're fighting against. So that goes right into the title of the article that he has here. So it says, why did so many people hate anti-communists more than communism? And why do even more people hate Israel more than Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah? So the general reason is that it is emotionally and psychologically difficult for most people to stare evil in the face. Evil is widely described as dark, but it is not dark. It's easy to look into the dark. What is far harder to look at is blinding bright light. Perhaps that is why Lucifer, the original name of the Christian devil, comes from the word light. Why this is so, why people will not call evil evil, is probably related to a lack of courage. Once one declares something evil, one is morally bound to resist it, and people fear resisting evil. The fools who mock Christianity, whether through a work of art like Piss Christ, a crucifix and a jar of urine, or the Paris Olympics opening ceremony that mocked the Last Supper, or the Los Angeles Dodgers honoring the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which were men in drag dressed as nuns, would never mock Islam. Yeah, good luck with that. All these people, if they did that, they'd all be dead. And that's not even a joke. It says, they fear Muslim wrath. They do not fear Christian wrath. Yet Islamic wrath has done and is doing far more evil in our time than Christian wrath. And that's not even a question. It says, and there is one additional reason for hating Israel. One that is specific to Israel rather than those who seek to exterminate Israel. It's Jew hatred, better known as anti-Semitism. The people who introduced a judging God and gave the world the 10 Commandments have been hated for thousands of years, not those who systematically violate those commandments. So, yeah, that's it. I just wanted to kind of go over this and just mention it because I thought it was a very good, like I said, philosophical things as, why do people hate those who fight evil far more than those who are evil? It's always a good question to think about. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.